Hey everybody, Whip here and welcome on back to Building with Whip. We are back here in the fantasy area where in the last episode we came through and built a quite fantastical hanging village or cliffside village, whatever we want to call it here, but it is looking pretty fantastic. I am absolutely in love with these new structures that we're able to come up with over here, adding them into the side of the cliff, and oh my gosh, it has been so much fun coming around here and just detailing out the world, getting more life and everything along this world, and just it's really starting to feel like a unique atmosphere. It very much feels like a survival atmosphere still with all of the sugarcane around, which we will be getting rid of that stuff here soon. We just need a little bit more paper to make a few more things happen. But folks, we might be able to see a little bit of right over there in between the mountains. I've been very busy doing some terraforming, and we will be getting over that here very soon. But outside of that, I would love to get up here into our castle. As we've spent a little while over here already kind of just getting things ready to go for the castle, we've planned it out, we built the front entrance, we've got a lot of stuff ready, and I just need a little bit more steak here because, well, I'm starting to run a little low on the stuff. Mostly due to taking falling damage as I've been running down the mountain, everything like that. It's been a little rough as I've been falling up and off this mountain. You don't really fall up a mountain, do you? But over here we've got this whole thing set out, and it comes up to this main point where it gets to be a little bit lackluster. Today, however, I would love to tackle this building and that building right there so that we can make the front gatehouse of our fantasy Asian-inspired castle base. But while I'm getting that stuff ready and prepped up and good to go here, folks, let's go ahead and kick this up in a good old-fashioned time-lapse mode and get you all caught up. Now that we've got it all caught up here for this build, it's looking pretty fantastic over here. It's kind of a crazy looking landscape. I'm planning to put more village houses and things inside of this area, similar to how we had done the cliffside village on that first starting point, but it's time that we focus on the castle. One thing that we really got to get sorted here for the castle is building materials, because this thing is going to be absolutely massive. And thankfully we gathered up quite a bit of extra sand in the last episode, so we can use this to make a bunch of stacks of white concrete there. And then on top of that, if we take a look at the style guide that I made in the last episode for what we're going to be using, is we need a lot of basalt in here. We need a lot of, I believe, polished blackstone, which we should be able to make off of just that right there. We can, perfect. And then I actually am going to need, I believe, a few blackstone stairs. You know what, let's just go with polished here. That should be totally fine. And outside of that, we are also going to be needing a lot of spruce wood, a bunch of spruce buttons, a bunch of spruce trapdoors, which I don't have any of those, so we'll have to make some. And then we need our dark oak and our crimson wood as usual. And unfortunately, it looks like we are pretty much out of dark oak and crimson wood. Thankfully, though, we've got the dark oak wood up there, and we've got this whole row of crimson wood right in here. The problem with these, though, is if we break down all of these guys, all of this stuff is still sticking around here. So I think I'm going to need to spend a little bit of time chopping all of these ones down, and while I'm doing that, we can actually take a look at some other stuff. You know what? First and foremost, let's get up the mountain and clear out our inventory. One of these days, I will actually use the road that we built in the last episode to get up here. That road, you know, that one right there that's not requiring me to jump up all the way, yeah, maybe one day we'll use that. But today is not that day. For now, we just need a barrel in here. Oh, I needed to convert some of this stuff. Let's convert 3 stacks of it. We'll go 3 and 3, and we can put all these guys in here, and that should be plenty enough. I don't even know why I brought the leaves with me, or the leather, or the stone cutter, but that'll be able to get us started. I'm gonna chop all of these things down, and chop all of those things down, and I'll be back with you folks. Gathering up all those materials took way longer than I thought it would, and oh my gosh, these things are some of the least efficient ways of gathering this stuff. That's how many nether wart blocks we got for this many crimson stems. 3 stacks of stems gives us basically a full inventory of blocks with how we're doing that one. And now I get to go over here and deal with, you know, creating all of this concrete. Unfortunately, I'm at the point right now where I'm very quickly running out of durability on my pickaxes. As you can see, we've moved over to the secondary pickaxe, and I've got to get an experience farm started. I was able to repair everything up once with just through doing some kelp smelting and everything like that, but I don't think that's quite sustainable. So if you all have any ideas on how we can find a quicker or a quick fix experience farm, please be sure to let me know. I really don't know what to do now. We had a piglin farm before in the old nether, and maybe we could make one of those things again. I mentioned it a few times. There's 0 mob spawners around this area. I have scoured the caves underneath this. I couldn't even find a single zombie spawner, let alone spiders or skeletons or whatever. But at least we've got this pickaxe rocking for now. That'll be able to get us through these next few builds up on the castle. So it's not an immediate need, and if we need more smooth stone or anything like that, then we can just kind of smelt some cobblestone. I think what we're gonna do today, since we've already done a bunch of time-lapsey things, and everybody's always like, Whip, can you show us how to build things? So today what I thought would be kind of fun was to actually build together. I thought building together throughout all of this would be a really entertaining way to go, so I'm thinking we can get a half stack of this guy right in here. That's enough. Close enough to a half stack. I've been looking at these areas, and I think we're gonna get started with this structure over here. It might just work out a little bit better to build this one first, because this middle walkway here is quite skinny, and what I wanted to do was bring these up to being, I think we're gonna go up to here with the basalt on all of the corners and kind of flare it out at the base. So the layouts that we actually made with the wood here and everything like that, I think is actually gonna be what we're using. Oh my gosh, I always forget how fast that is. But I think that's gonna be something that we're gonna be using for more of the general shape of the inside walls, or basically planning out the size of the interior structures. And then I want to come around here and add in some basalt around the base to make it a little bit more detailed and add some extra color into it and variety and everything. And that gets us up to having something along this size, and I want to bring it in full on the corners here as well, so I need to actually fix this one up. I didn't do the details on this side because we're going to be building some cliffs down here, and I think that'll be okay to leave for now. And then the next layer along the top is going to be some polished blackstone stairs upside down going around the entire thing. It definitely uses a lot of these stair blocks as we're moving throughout, but it helps create this nice little bit of a lip going around the entire way, which I think gives a cool bit of a transition point. And as we finish up the corner, we can then bring in some of our polished blackstone slabs and go every other block with these guys, something more like this right in here, and then we get to bring in our white concrete and make a border going all the way around here. We're getting a very strong contrast with this one. I think it looks really sweet. And as we bring this up here, I'm going to bring up this white concrete just being too high here, and then what I'm going to do on this actually is every point above where we didn't have a slab, I'm going to add in a button, a spruce button in here, and it should help with that kind of transitioning from these lighter materials, but still making it kind of in that earthy tone bit that we're going for here. And then bringing this up to being a third layer, we can start adding in some of our windows, which is going to be a spruce fence, and then we're going to add in some spruce trapdoors to the sides of these, like this and right like that. So they're kind of their own 2 wide little segments for it, and we're currently at 3 blocks tall. I'm going to bring this up 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then up at this next point we got to start adding in a little bit of fun detail for this front point, where it's going to go a spruce log, a strip spruce log, and then we're going to go with a regular one, and just kind of carrying this pattern all the way across. And I think it'll give a really cool feel for ourselves here. And I just need to get all these other sides caught up. But let's take a quick look back here, and how are we looking on this one? Obviously ignoring the base here. And it's starting to get a good shape in there. I forgot the trapdoors. Now, I haven't been doing any of the texturing or anything down here, so this is also going to have some white concrete powder in there. Just add some more variation and texture to it. This one I'm leaving without the windows because obviously we're putting the gate going into that guy over there. But what I want to show y'all next was we're going to be coming up here on top of this little wooden point that we created, which is almost like a separator of sorts, and we're adding in that first little bit of a trim where this is going to go all the way around. For myself, I like to get the corner bits on these ones and then figure out where the slope is going to go, because I think that makes it a little bit easier to work with. So if we bring in a 1 and a 1 on each side, that leaves us 5 in the middle, which I think will be a good amount of a sway for us here. Taking a little bit of a cheeky look here with F5, I feel like that's about as much as we can honestly do here, while still getting that feeling of the good sway that we wanted. And maybe actually while we're up here, let's give this one a shot, because that'll help to mob proof it a little bit more as well. And you know what? I actually like that right there. I think that's a little bit better, instead of being, with the lines I'm looking at, is that it was following completely the 5 wide bit of the window down there. And I wanted to make sure that we didn't have that same pattern going along with it. And then up here, what we can do is we can go 1, 2, 3, and 4 tall on this guy. I guess this is a good time to take a look at the front of it. But folks, is this something that you find helpful? Do you enjoy this type of a Let's Build, or should we stick with the time lapses for majority of the building, or what do y'all think on that one? Let me know down in the comments below. But this isn't looking too half bad. Ignoring this base part, we're still going to tweak that and fix that up. But something right there is starting to feel very large and grand, which is kind of what we want in this area. But because we ran out of the white concrete, it might be time that we start throwing a few of these windows in to be able to retain a little bit of that stuff. And I'm thinking what we can do here is we can kind of line ourselves up exactly where we had those windows below us, and it'll help add to that grandness and making this feel even taller. If we make this window 1 block shorter, so the one below us is 3 tall, this one's 2 tall, obviously math, and that will actually help to make the build feel even taller, because it makes it look farther and farther away from you. And the way I like to function with the white concrete powder is using almost as like a bit of a bleach type of structure. I do have this connected texture in here that helps it kind of spread out and make it look larger than just being a single block, which I absolutely love. But I know not everybody has that, but it'll still work out basically the same way if you don't have it. It just kind of helps adding some more texture to the wall right here, which I think works out really, really well for make this thing a lot more interesting. Look at that wall below us, and look at this one right here. Adding in the texture has already given this build a lot more character to it. One thing we also need to bring is chains with soulfire lanterns hanging down right over there. And there's one thing that I actually forgot that we very much need to get up to the next layer while we're working on it, is that tree right over there, the birch tree. I love being on top of a mountain inside of this forest, being able to see so far away. But we're going to run on over here real fast because we don't have the elytra to fly, and get a few birch trees for ourselves. We really shouldn't need too many of them, because all I need is some trapdoors right in here. We just need probably like 16 trapdoors for this tower, and then maybe like 32 trapdoors for the other, which I know normally is a lot, but inside of my world here, I realize that like trapdoors are tiny, right? And they're so inefficient to craft. Like using 6 planks will get you 3 doors, which are 2 blocks tall, but using 6 planks will also only get you 2 trapdoors. So for me, that never really made sense. On our way back to the building, it is standing out like crazy. Oh my god, this is going to be really cool. Once you're wandering through the forest, you just see this giant castle sticking up here. I think it's going to be really cool once it's finished up with all the crimson colors and everything like that. Oh man, I'm really excited for this one. Moving up to the next layer here, we're actually done with concrete for a little while, which is really nice. So what we're going to be starting with is that same type of pattern that we had in here, but this one's actually going to be sticking out even further in a little bit of an interesting way. Is we're going to be bringing in some crimson up here, as I was kind of alluding to earlier, and we need to get that block. Nah, just kidding, I need that in there for now. I always want to get rid of placeholder blocks. I'm just like using it to get somewhere else. I want to get rid of them just so quickly, and every single time it's way too early. But we're going to be bringing in something like this, extending this out 2 blocks, And then now we need to drop it down one, and haha, look at that trapdoor coming in clutch right there. I think going that all the way across here should actually work out pretty well, and then we can bring in the trapdoors right, or the slabs right in there. As we're bringing around this last side, we can start to add in some more detail as we work our way up this one, because we want to make this thing much skinnier as it goes. And so what we want to do here on the corners is add in a crimson plank with a slab on top of it, and then a plank with a slab on top of it. This is where we want to start bringing in the floors and making it a little bit skinnier. I know it's going to be nighttime out here, but I don't have a bed, and hopefully we don't have phantoms. But then we can bring in some stairs right here. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I might do these as full blocks. One thing that is very important to note, if you're building in Minecraft, not even if you make a blueprint, kind of like I had a general idea of the style guide that I created, not every time is that going to work out for you. So if you need to break some blocks and redo things, that is totally acceptable. It is 100% fine to be like, you know what, I don't like how this looks. So you know what, I'm just going to get rid of it. And you know what I should have done is bring in some more dark oak. Now this is where we can start to do a little bit of number work to see what's going to work out best for us. So what I wanted to do at this layer was this guy right here and this guy at the far end. And then I was going to use some trapdoors and some spruce logs to be able to make a really cool bit of detail. But as you can see, that's already kind of bringing us into this central point right here. So it's not going to work out too well. So we have it set up a little bit like this, where we have stair, trapdoors, and then trapdoors kind of going along up here. And I think that might be how we have to keep it, unfortunately. Not that it was really my first pick for this one, but I think unfortunately it's going to be what works out the best for us. So I'm just going to add in a few more little trapdoors right in here to give ourselves a bit of a border. I added some strip spruce along there on the base, as you can see. Speaking of being able to see, this is going to help out a lot with that one. As we stack up all of this warped wood, we're going to be bringing in a few windows, which I think is going to look really cool. So bringing these ones all the way up here, and then this is where our birch trapdoors are going to come into play, and we're going to 1 and 2 open up both of those, and 1 and 2 open up both of those, and then we're going to bring in the warp stem here as well, and bam, right like that. And then behind those, we can bring in our shroom lights, which are going to sit right back in here. And then that should actually work out pretty perfectly for being these other sides as well, which is very nice. Absolutely awesome. And once we get some lights on these lower levels as well, I think it's going to look really cool. And we've got a bit more spruce log action going up here, which is nice. And what I'm going to do is basically take this same roof that we had right here, which was starting at this point. I think this is our corner block. It is perfect. And what I want to do at this point now is we get to bring this whole thing up and repeat that same roof design, but it'll basically be a step back. And now we get to come up here and do in the final roof section, which should be pretty easy for ourselves. And it's going to be the same thing we've done before. So getting all these blocks in hand, we can bring all this stuff out here, work our way around the corners, doing that same pattern that we have. And this guy took absolutely forever to build up here, but it's looking really sweet. I added in the complete roof up there. I put in a little bit of a shroom light lantern, paper lantern of sorts up there on the top. I don't really know, but I think it looks pretty cool. And I think the whole thing is working out pretty well for ourselves. And it feels grand. It definitely feels grand, especially down from this angle. You can kind of see the roofs working their way up in there into the corners. I need to get those lanterns in here soon too, which I believe I should have a large amount of the soulfire lanterns, as well as having some chains lying around. I accidentally crafted up way too many of them a while ago. What I like to do with all those decoration materials is create like a stack of each of them. And so I created a stack of lanterns because I was like, oh, I'm going to use these over time. Like, that'll be fine. And then I accidentally crafted a stack of soulfire lanterns when I most definitely did not mean to. So now I get to come around this entire build, which would be really cool doing it in the nighttime and dangerous. But I got to come around here the entire way and just add in these soulfire lanterns off to the corners. I love the blue hint that they have to them. I think it's just so beautiful. So this should work out really well in making the build feel a lot more unique and giving it a lot more character to it. Oh god, there's phantoms. No! Please, no! Hello, phantoms. I just want to place my lanterns. I'm sorry I haven't slept for a while. I've been building. Ah! Haha, you're stuck in here with me. Who else wants some? Who else wants some? Come on, come and get it. Come and get it. Oh, now they're coming in. Aha! This roof is great! If I can actually hit them! 7 phantom membranes. I'll take that. That's a good amount of stuff that we can use later. And then we can just use this pillar and take ourselves down a layer. Do the same lanterns again. And I think I need more chains. This being a standalone structure right now definitely still has that wow factor and feels very much like a shrine of sorts. Like it belongs on top of a mountain, which is great because we're on top of a mountain. But it's time for me to do a little bit more work. I think what I'm going to do, since it's basically the same style over here, it's just, kind of placing the blocks on that side and doing all that stuff, as I'm going to just spend a while. I'll get this whole thing built up and then we'll talk about the gatehouse. Our second structure is now finished up and it's looking pretty awesome. It's very, very grand, this whole place, but we really need to link these up here in the center. This one is basically a clone of that. I meant to turn it into a time lapse, but it didn't really work out too well. And as you can also see down here, I have come through and done a little bit of terraforming work. We got this old cliff thing over there set up, ready to go. And I started working towards doing this cliff here and planting some bamboo, podzol, coarse dirt, oak leaves, and the works. But folks, let's get on to building the actual gatehouse portion of this thing. And there it is, folks. We've done it. The whole gatehouse is in, and wow, this thing is looking pretty insane. If I gotta say so myself, I think we gotta get some more structures up here to really get the feel off of it. Because when we're looking at it from like this view right here, it just feels very like that's skinny and long going back that way. That one's just kind of a big bulky thing. But I think we also get some structures like this front face right over here. Then we're going to really see that grand castle feel. And I love this little gate design right here. I went for just a large door. And so using some dark oak in here, we got stripped dark oak, and then I did the way of latching the door together is kind of these little trap doors right in here. And I think it actually worked out pretty well. And then I brought in a little bit of that stained glass up there on the top because I felt like we needed some more of that inside of the build. And I think it's working out pretty well for us. It's more of stuff that we'll have to get figured out. And the walkways inside of here, well, my friends, the inside of these things are completely hollow. So that's going to be stuff we are going to be figuring out later. But folks, this episode is way too long at this point in time. The first initial recording of it before I just edited the rest of it to see where I was at. And well, it was about 38 minutes long. And so I cut that down a good amount, as you can see right now. But folks, thank you all so very much for watching. That's going to have to do it for today's episode. If you did enjoy, please be sure to click that like button down below. It helps me out a bunch. And will let me know you want to see more videos of this style and everything like that. But be sure to subscribe if you are brand new, folks. And I will catch you on the flip side. And die to a berry.